Hey everybody, Mountain Grandma here. It would not be a candy Christmas without some of Grandma's Christmas brittle to top off those trays of goodies that you're going to be making. And I'm going to share with you 3 recipes that I love. We're going to start with amazing buttered pecan brittle, and then we're going to move on to a classic peanut brittle with a twist, and also a scrumptious banana nut brittle that any banana bread lover would love. And we're going to start with this classic peanut brittle. You're going to need to get all these ingredients here, plus a large cookie sheet that you want to butter really well. Now let's go. All right, quick rundown on how much of the ingredients we're going to be using of each. I've got 3 cups of sugar right here. All right, right here I have 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. To this, I'm going to be adding in a teaspoon of vanilla, and then I'm also going to add in a teaspoon of water. There we go. All right, and I'm going to have this mixed up and ready because there's a certain point where I got to pour this in there, and I don't want to have to mix it all up at that particular point. I'm going to be adding in, this is a 1/4 cup of butter all chopped up. I've got a cup of water here, and then I have right here a 1/2 cup of the light corn syrup. Oh, and then we are going to use this entire container of Planters peanuts. And if you know my channel, you know we like spicy stuff. So we're using sweet and spicy. Feel free to just use, like regular peanuts. Alrighty then, let's get started. Oh, couple more things. Don't forget your candy thermometer, folks. Needs to go up to at least 300 degrees. All right, now I've got my oven set on 200 degrees, and I'm going to cook my heavily buttered cookie sheets into the oven and let them set at 200 degrees until the brittle is ready to pour on them. Right here, I have my 3 cups of sugar, my 1 cup of water, and my 1/2 cup of corn syrup that I've got in this pot. And I'm going to put this on a medium heat, and then I'm just going to be stirring. We are about ready to enter the phase 1 of brittle madness. I got my oven set at medium-high heat, and I'm going to keep stirring. My goal is to get this to 240 degrees before the next step. All right, we are at about 20 minutes, and we are over 220 degrees. All right, I want to point something out. You see the size of my pot? Don't use a pot the size of my pot. Use a bigger one for this recipe, because it took me a long time to get this done with this pot this size for this particular recipe. It worked good. A good 2-quart pot works great for the other ones, but for this one you want like a pot with a bigger bottom to it, and it'll go much quicker. As a matter of fact, it'll be done in 20 minutes versus the hour that this took me. All right, we are officially at a strong 240 degrees. I'm going to add in that 1/4 cup of butter. Ow, be careful not to touch yourself, boy, that's hot. And then I'm going to add in the teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to add in this entire jar of peanuts. All right. And here we go. All right. Let me get my thermometer back over here. And now we're going to heat it up to, we're going to heat it up to 300 degrees. When you're stirring, I do want to point out that you'll kind of sometimes feel like you're pushing sugar crystals on the bottom of the pot. And that means you need to stir more right there. That's the best I can tell you. It means something might be trying to stick on you, and you don't want that to happen. All right, we are almost to 380 degrees. And we are 42 minutes in. Do you see my hand? Yeah, when it gets this hot and it starts bubbling and boiling like this, best to be safe than sorry. I don't want a whole bunch of burns on my hands. So I would suggest you have one of these little mitts nearby so that when it pops, you know, you don't get burnt. All right, I'll be back with you as soon as we're at 300. All right, now I'm adding in the vanilla water and baking soda. I'm going to stir this in there. All right, and then we're going to pour fast, guys. We are going to pour fast after I get this stirred in. Here it is. All right, all stirred in. Let's go pour. All right, now remember we are pouring these onto cookie sheets that have been in the oven at 200 degrees, so they're nice and warm, which makes it very easy for you to spread your brittle out. You want it as thin as possible. Pull from the center to the edges. And once you get that done, you're going to let these sit out to cool, and voila, there's your brittle. All right, guys, let's move on to the buttered pecan brittle. All right, so for the butter pecan brittle, let's go over some ingredients we need here. We've got 3/4 a cup of sugar, 1/3 of a cup of the light corn syrup. We've got a heaping cup of pecan halves. Notice these are pecan halves, not pieces. We also have a tablespoon of vanilla, 1/3 a cup of water, and I'm also going to be adding in 1/8 of a cup, again, using the Himalayan pink salt. So this is everything. Oh, and I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of unsalted butter as well. And I'm going to butter the pans like I did before. Well, it's only going to take 1 pan for this batch. I'm going to butter the pan and then put it in the oven at 200 degrees again. So I'll get those things done. I'm going to get this started on the oven and I'll share this with you. It should go much faster. I'll be right back. All right, so in here I've got 3/4 of a cup of sugar, 1/3 a cup of the light corn syrup, and 1/3 a cup of water. I'm also adding in about 1/8 of a teaspoon of the pink Himalayan salt. And I'm going to heat this up to 290 degrees. All right, we are at about 10 minutes in, and I am about 220 degrees. It's going much faster. I want you to watch the bottom of the pan as I kind of stir. Do you see how I'm even like moving the liquid out of the way? This is going to go a lot faster because there's just more of a heated surface area for all of this liquid to warm up. So if you're going to double this, get your big soup pot out and just make sure that you have to watch this candy thermometer. You see me moving this guy around? Because I don't want it sitting on the bottom. I want a true reading. All right, we are right at 290 degrees. And you can see how this is looking. About 20 minutes in. Here's my butter, my vanilla, and my pecans. And I get to stirring. All right, so if you want little pecan chewies, then you could actually have used crushed up pecans. And right here at this point where you're adding in that butter and everything like we just did, at this point you could stir it up and then you could drop it onto the cookie sheet and poof, you've got pecan chewies. But if you want brittle, not bendy, then you need to heat this back up. You want to get it to 300 degrees before you pour it, because you need to hit 300 degrees in order for it to become a brittle. But you could have a whole nother candy. Like, it's still good, even if it ends up bendy. Ask me how I know. And friends, we have brittle. Look at there. It's not bendy, it's brittle. Woohoo! All right, we get all this broke up. And we'll move on to the next one. All right, so for the banana walnut brittle, let's talk about ingredients. I've got a cup of sugar here. Also, in this bowl, you'll see there's 3/4 of a cup dried banana chips and 3/4 of a cup chopped walnuts. And right here, I've got a 1/2 cup of corn syrup. And I've also got down here a little 1/4 teaspoon of the pink Himalayan salt. Any salt is fine. I've got a 1/4 of a cup of water. I will be using a teaspoon of vanilla. And I'll also be using, this is 2 tablespoons of butter, just chopped up in little squares. And this is everything. Got a critical ingredient here. Don't forget your 1 teaspoon of baking soda. I've got this pan over here well buttered, and I'm setting my oven to 200 degrees so that I can put this in there and have this ready to go when the brittle's done. All right, let's get started. All right, so here we have a cup of sugar, a 1/4 of a cup of water, a 1/2 of a cup of corn syrup, and a 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And I've got this already heated up to 300 degrees. And at this point, I'm pulling the thermometer out. I'm going to add in here the 2 tablespoons of chopped butter. And then you're also going to see me add in a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of vanilla. And you're going to see the lens fog up. Apologies on that. But I'm stirring all of this up, and I'm going to let it warm up a little bit. And then I'm adding in the final thing, which is the walnuts and bananas. And I want to make sure I'm doing all of this over heat, okay? So I've still got that stove set at medium. And I'm going to add in the walnuts and bananas. And at that point, I stir it up a little bit more, and then it's ready to go ahead and get poured. And here it is. You can use a fork to help lift this up, a buttered fork, flip it over halfway through the cooling off process, and it helps it to cool off quicker, and it'll also help to prevent it from sticking to the pan. And then here you go. Your banana bread lovers are going to love this brittle, and I think your family is going to love all of these brittles. They're also great to mail, by the way. Just make sure that you store it in an airtight container or baggie if you live in a humid environment. And don't forget to go check out the description box down below. There will be a list of amazing content creators that are creating other candy recipes and videos to share. And I've got a playlist down there as well. There's going to be a giveaway, so make sure that you check that out. I'll be donating a $50 gift card, and there's other channels donating stuff too. It's going to be awesome. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this, and hope you go make some brittle. And until I see you next time, remember everybody, keep your joy, folks.